The fantasy world of Willow from the mind of George Lucas is now officially returning to the small screen on Disney's streaming service. The original film premiered in 1988 and starred Warwick Davis as the title character Willow Ufgood. The actor famously played the Ewok Wicket in Star Wars Return of the Jedi, and the role of Willow was specifically created with him in mind. The concept and story was from George Lucas, who brought on Bob Dolman to write the screenplay with Ron Howard to direct. The plot revolves around Willow of the Nelwyn race. He is a farmer with dreams of becoming a real sorcerer and who plays a pivotal role in the protection of the infant girl Elora Danan of the race of Daikini, who has been prophesied to be the downfall of the evil sorceress Queen Bavmorda. Willow is assisted by the eccentric mercenary and skilled swordsman Mad Mardigan, played by Val Kilmer. The film had mixed reviews from critics and general audiences, and was far from a blockbuster, but it was a financial success through international ticket and home video sales. The film went on to achieve cult status and became beloved, with many citing the amazing performance by Warwick Davis and his hero's journey as Willow, and the groundbreaking digital morphing technology that went on to be used in memorable sequences in films like Indiana Jones and the Last Crusade, Terminator 2: Judgment Day, and Star Trek: The Undiscovered Country. 3 decades after the film's initial release, talk of a potential revival began to circulate shortly before the premiere of Solo: A Star Wars Story in 2018, in which Ron Howard again was brought on to direct. In an exclusive by comicbook.com, Howard said, "I don't want to give away too much, but there is a little talk of Willow. We wouldn't call it Willow 2, I think it would focus a lot on Elora Danan, although Willow would have to be significantly involved." A comment that was particularly noteworthy from this interview is that Howard apparently thought a lot about Willow while working on Solo, and certain elements from the film served as inspiration for the director. Howard said, quote, "There are certain scenes, especially around some of the Mad Mardigan stuff, was reminiscent of a character with that kind of swagger and bravado. And also some of the humor around some of the action in Willow was something I inspired to get into Solo." Bringing this fantasy world to life again has obviously been on the mind of Ron Howard for a while. A year later, in May of 2019, Ron Howard revealed in an interview with MTV's Happy, Sad, Confused podcast that he was in serious discussions with Disney to develop a Willow sequel series with Jonathan Kasdan, writer for Solo: A Star Wars Story. The director also confirmed that Warwick Davis would be returning to reprise his role. He said, quote, "Warwick is so cool and so good. He's such a good actor that I really hope we get the chance to see the mature Willow in action." As of January of 2020, Howard said that there was nothing to announce yet as the green light still had not been given by Disney, but he did say that Kasdan had written most of the scripts for it. Now, to the delight of Willow and fantasy fans, Disney has officially given the go-ahead to start production of this new sequel series in 2021, which is officially set to premiere on Disney+. Ron Howard, who directed the 1988 film, will now serve as executive producer, with Jon M. Chu, director of Crazy Rich Asians, to direct the pilot episode. He will also serve as executive producer. Jonathan Kasdan and Wendy Mericle, writer and executive producer of the CW's Arrow, will serve as showrunners. In regards to what we might expect from this new series, Jon Chu recently opened up about how he feels to be involved in this project. In his statement, he said, quote, "Growing up in the 80s, Willow has had a profound effect on me. The story of the bravest heroes in the least likely places allowed me, an Asian American kid growing up in a Chinese restaurant looking to go to Hollywood, to believe in the power of our own will, determination, and of course, inner magic. So the fact that I get to work with my heroes from Kathleen Kennedy to Ron Howard is bigger than a dream come true. It's a bucket list moment for me. Jon Kasdan and Wendy Mericle have added such groundbreaking new characters and delightful surprises to this timeless story that I can't wait for the world to come along on this epic journey with us." Bob Dolman, the writer of the original film, is also on board as a consulting producer. President of Lucasfilm Kathleen Kennedy and Michelle Rejwan will also serve as executive producers. Ron Howard also said regarding the production, "It's creatively exciting to not only revisit the world and characters first conceived by George Lucas, Bob Dolman, and myself, but to see it take flight in such fresh, fun, and cinematic ways through the imagination of Jon Kasdan and Team Willow. This isn't a nostalgic throwback, it's a creative lean forward, and it's a blast to be a part of it all. At this time, there has only been confirmation of the return of the film's characters Willow and Elora Danan for this new series. As was previously mentioned, early on Ron Howard reported that the infant at the center of the original film, Elora, will have a pivotal role to play in this series as well. He also confirmed that a significant portion of time will have passed when the story of this new series begins. It'll be interesting to see who they cast for the role of Elora and at what age she'll be. The relationship between Willow and Elora was a special part of the film. His love for the child enabled him to do amazing things he didn't think possible, and I think it would be really nice to see how their relationship has grown over time. I could definitely see this series as a coming-of-age story for Elora, and being reunited with Willow, seeing him as a trusted and wise mentor. This could be handled in a manner similar to the Arthur and Merlin story. Though considering decades have passed since the film, it's also just as likely to take place when Elora is all grown up, with the full weight and responsibility of Empress on her shoulders. It's hard to say exactly what they have in mind for the story that will drive the series. There is so much that could be explored and expounded upon in the fantasy world George Lucas created. The mother world that serves as Willow's home has largely been untouched throughout the years, so there is plenty of creative room to expand on this property, and a series seems to be a great way to do that. Lucas and comic book writer and novelist Chris Claremont did go on to adapt a series of books from the film that were released around the late 90s. The Chronicles of the Shadow War trilogy picks up about 15 years after the events of the movie, where the focus shifts away from Willow to the teenager Elora Danan. There doesn't seem to be any indication, however, that the show will take any inspiration from what is outlined in those books. Considering the comments of those involved in the project, it seems the focus will be on creating new characters and stories, and it certainly seems that Willow will remain a central fixture. For those not familiar with the fantasy film or who wish to get reacquainted with it before the series premieres, it is currently streaming on Disney+. When it comes to projects based on a beloved IP, especially ones that are handled by Disney, I've learned to remain cautiously optimistic at best. But overall, I must say I am very interested to see the Mother World explored more through the continuing adventures of Willow and Elora Danan in this series format. I hope you enjoyed this video. Leave a like if you did, and be sure to subscribe for more sci-fi and fantasy content. And let me know what you think about this newest attempt to continue the story of Willow. Are you excited, indifferent, or nervous? Let me know in the comments below. Thank you all so much for your support, and as always, have a very nerdy day.